it's Olivia. Today I'm surprisingly doing a book haul, which I don't buy a lot of books, so this is kind of new and exciting, and I think mostly due to the season, as you probably could have guessed by what kinds of things I like. But I do love Halloween. This is the first week of fall. I already had all my Halloween decorations up. I got my Suspiria shirt on today, feeling spooky. Got my Halloween socks on, feeling spooky. And because there was a lot of new horror releases coming out now, and Halloween readathons, and just like in the mood, treat yourself. This is your time of year, Olivia, don't deny it. You can buy a couple of books. I did so, and I'm really excited about them. So I'm going to share everything that I've hauled through like new releases or just new books on bookshop.org, not on new releases. My Nightworms books this month, a couple of used books that I bought, and my library haul for October. And so you will probably see these books again because I'm hoping to read them all, or a good chunk of them during the month of October. So thinking about what my Halloween reads would be. The first thing that I want to talk about, I guess, is the used books because I got those first, and those are actually right behind me, so one sec. The first used book that I picked up at a Goodwill haul of 2 books that totaled 85 cents or something like that was Galilee by Clive Barker. I honestly did not really know anything about this book, and the size of it's a little bit intimidating for me. I just read my first Clive Barker this month in September, The Hellbound Heart, which was the group read at King Juan's Plagued by Visions Discord channel, wherever he hosts the the group read, and I loved it. I could have guessed that I would love it because I love Hellraiser so much, but very excited to have read it and loved it, and so I'm hoping to read more Clive Barker. But this one is about mystical clans, old insanities, old adulteries, a seemingly invincible family, and I'm guessing something to do with actually being on the water. Who knows? Who knows? I don't really need to know anything about this because I would be going into it because of the author, and it seems to be well reviewed. When I will get to a book that's this long is questionable, but I'm glad I have it now. The next book I picked up actually because of Juan too. He read a book by Tabitha King during this Spooky Smart Bitch readathon with Alex the Bookubus, and so whenever I saw this at Goodwill for 40 cents, I was like, I don't really need to know anything about this either. Oh, a beauty. So Tabitha King is Stephen King's wife and was an author as well. This one's called The Trap. I'm guessing it's set during the winter, but it's also about this couple, and the main character's name is Olivia, and apparently she is married to a promising screenwriter, and he's a screenwriter, she's an artist, and she's become a prisoner of her husband's ambitions. Do you think this is writing herself into it? Being forced to choose between her career and her wifely responsibilities. I'm really interested. I don't know if this is I think this would be considered horror thriller. A searing novel of self-discovery and the courage of a woman violated. I think it's gorgeous. I love this vintage cover. So I actually am really looking forward to reading this, even though it seems to have kind of mixed reviews, but here we are. 40 cents. Who could say no? it would have cost me more to walk away without it, honestly. The next books that I'll talk about will be my Nightworms books that I got this month. I found out too late that one of the Nightworms books this month was My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, who I love this author, but I read this one on, like I got an e-arc of it through NetGalley and didn't love it. And so now I'm like kind of torn because it's like, you know, it came with a signed book plate, and I do like the author, but don't love this book. And I'm not like really like a collector. Like I don't really love like just like having stuff around that's not stuff that I love. So I'm kind of conflicted on what to do with that. I was kind of thinking of like doing a giveaway for it, but I want the book plate. Ooh, it's still like thinking about what I want to do. The other book that came in the Nightworms package this month was The Forest by Lisa Quigley. Everyone in Edgewood believes their annual ties at the fall festival are what purchase Edgewood's safety, but as Faye and her husband prepare to take over as town stewards, a long tradition carried out by her family for generations, they learn the terrible truth. In order to guarantee the town's safety, the forest demands an unthinkable sacrifice. I saw someone already like kind of not review this, but like had impressions that this was kind of like a repetitive book over on Instagram, but I honestly cannot remember who it was. But it seems like fall vibes. Like I think I want to read it soon, and I've liked previous stuff by Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing. So I'm actually looking forward to this one. I'm very confused on what to do with the Stephen Graham Jones one. And this month, like it always comes with a coffee or a tea, and it's come with vegan hot chocolate before, but this is like the first month, and I've been subscribed for over a year, that they sent something that wasn't vegan for the drink. So I did give that to a coworker, but I might unsubscribe after. I'm gonna get the October package and then I might unsubscribe because I don't like that. I mean, not that they advertise that it's like a vegan thing or not, but it was just like, it was always coffee or tea, and it was, you know, default vegan. And it just makes me feel like I'm a very soft person. And so it makes me very emotional whenever something like that happens, like unsuspected. You know, I've got nightmares about eating stuff that has like milk or, you know, whatever in it, but like into my home, it came into my home. So that and other reasons, just like I think I've talked before that I liked the Nightworms package because like whenever I didn't really know what I liked in horror, it was like a great path for me to like find out about new authors. But now I follow a ton of people and I know more about like what I like, and so I don't think that I need it as much. Like I can seek out my own books, but it is very cool because they do have like exclusive editions. Like I think the November package has like some exclusive editions coming out, so may stay on. The next ones that I will talk about were the books that I actually purchased for myself. I got them on bookshop.org, which is where if I ever am buying new books, and I can't buy them directly from the publisher, then I'll buy them on there because I can support my local indie bookstore. We're a no Amazon house, except for like a couple of books that I bought on Kindle because they weren't available through any other means. So I still want to, you know, it's like I still want to support indie writers. So whenever I have the opportunity, I support indie bookstores as well. Okay, the first thing that I got was a physical copy of The Strange Thing We Become, which I reviewed because I got an e-arc. And so my review for that is maybe linked down below if I remember. Otherwise, you can just like look on my channel and see it, but it was a 5-star read for me. I loved it even more than Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last spoke, and I really want people to pick it up, and so that's why I wanted to have a physical copy of it and support the author, but also like have a copy to lend out, especially to my friends who already read Things Have Gotten Worse and loved it, so that they can have another horror read. But yeah, love this one. I'm happy to have a physical copy of it now. The next two books are from an author that I've wanted to read from for a long time, and I know that I'm going to read one of these books in October for Kelsey Slime and Slasher's Halloween readathon, but that's Hailey Piper. I got The Worm and His Kings and Queen of Teeth. I know I'll be reading Queen of Teeth in October. This is released this month or last month, and is like a, you know, vagina teeth story. And what more do you need to know? And I think I'm going to do a whole TBR vid for that readathon as well. Not that anyone's like checking in on me, but I think I am. And then The Worm and His Kings, I think, is like a horror story set in New York, in the sewers maybe. Yeah, a taloned monster stalks the city's underground and snatches the victims into the dark. I've just heard really good things about this, and I'm just really interested in this author. I saw that Hailey Piper and Eric LaRocca actually did a discussion recently on queer horror for the Ladies of Horror Fiction Instagram, and I haven't checked that out yet, but it sounds really interesting to me, and I love supporting queer horror authors. The next book I picked up was Darcy Coates' The Carrow Haunt. I have just been like really in the mood to read a Darcy Coates book. The only one that I've read so far is The Haunting of Ashburn House, which I think is like a lot of people's like first one to pick up. But this seems to be a very well-loved one. Remy is a tour guide for the notoriously haunted Carrow house. When she's asked to host guests for a week-long stay in order to research Carrow's phenomena, she hopes to finally experience some of the sightings that made the house famous. I love a haunted house, and I'm definitely going to be reading this one in October as well. Darcy Coates is described pretty frequently as like cozy horror, but this is like the one that people say is like a little bit scarier. And so I'm really interested in that, even though I would love just like a cozy horror. Like that's kind of like the Halloween mood that I go for, is just, you know, hauntings. The next one that I picked up is Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi. And this was recommended to me on Twitter by one of my Twitter friends whenever I was looking for like new horror manga, but I've also seen it reviewed really well on Erin Megan's channel as well as Jordaline's channel, and don't really know anything about it except for it's very well loved and it's a horror manga. Maybe it seems like it is about a son and a mother, something, until one terrible summer day that all changes. I don't want to know anything else going in. The next one I picked up was Adam Nevill Last Days, which is a book about a guerrilla documentarian looking to explore a cult known as the Temple of the Last Days. The cult became a worldwide phenomenon in 1975 when there was a massacre, including the death of its infamous leader, Sister Catherine. And then that's all. I just wanted, you know, a cult book. And this seemed like the one. I was really hoping to read No One Gets Out Alive by Adam Nevill in October. That's the one that I was like looking forward to the most, and like I'd planned to get it from the library, so that's why I bought this one. And then it was like the first time that it ever was checked out at the library was the day that I went. And I was like, okay, maybe not. Maybe that's for later. Maybe it's a sign. I think I'll get to this one in October. Like, that's what I'm saying, is like I bought these books being like, okay, this is what I'm most excited to read right now, which is I guess what most people do when they buy books, but I never buy books. I just kind of like look through the library and pick up whatever feels right that day. And Adam Nevill seems like a cool guy. I'm judging that based completely off of, he follows me on Instagram and posted about Iron Maiden today, and that's all I really need. The last book the last book that I bought was Taaqtumi, an anthology of Arctic horror stories. I'll probably save this one more for winter. It's a collection that I've been looking at for a long time, and it is just a collection of, I think, all indigenous Arctic horror writers, and people live in the Arctic year round. I understand that, but to me it's a cold place, and I want to read this book during cold times, and I just love that cover. So very excited to get to this one in the winter. The next books that I have to talk about are my library books. The first one that I picked up is The Moorstone Sickness by Bernard Taylor. I've had this book on my radar for a long time, I think thanks to a review by Alex from the Bookubus, and I've had it saved on my script for a long time, but whenever I saw that they had a physical copy at the library, I was like, I think this is what I want to read right now, and I'll read something else on script. After the death of their infant son, Hal and Rowan Graham decide to leave the mad bustle of London and move to a quiet country refuge, and the rustic village of Moorstone seems perfect, too perfect. Why does a small town need such a large insane asylum? Why do the village's elderly residents leave everything they own to young newcomers they barely know? I don't know too much more about this, except for Alex liked it and I trust her judgment, and I think it's also like has folk horror elements. You can probably hear this dog losing its mind in the background. Maybe it's the Moorstone sickness getting to it. The next book I picked up was Earthbound by Richard Matheson, who I have not read anything from yet, and so I'm excited to read this one. And it's marketed as an eerie and erotic ghost story, and that sounds wonderful. A couple is going on their second honeymoon, and a weird third woman shows up, and I'm guessing spooky stuff happens from there. But it's not too long, so I thought it was something else that I could squeeze in during October. This is really ambitious because I want to be watching lots of horror movies as well. So when I'm reading all of this and, you know, living my life, going to work, working out, cooking, who knows when all this is going to happen. The next book I picked up is A Special Place, The Heart of a Dark Matter by Peter Straub. This is also an author that's new to me, and this is the novella length, which I kind of picked on purpose for the aforementioned reasons. This is a book about like maybe a young sociopath whose uncle is also like a sociopath, maybe a serial killer, and kind of like teaches him things. Takes him under his wing. That's kind of my impression from the synopsis, but we will see what actually happens. I am so psyched for this last book that I found at the library because there's not like a lot of new horror at the library, and it seems like whenever there is new horror, it's like these big titles like, you know, that are being put out by, you know, Tor, Macmillan, Stephen King, but they had Smithy. They had Smithy by Amanda Desiree, which I saw reviewed on Merce's channel, Harpies in the Trees, and from the cover, I needed to read this book. And I watched her review and everything, but right now all I'm really remembering is like there's like something spooky going on, and like this like chimpanzee that's like being used for like science experiments. Yeah, they like taught him American Sign Language. I think he's like supposed to be like a Coco the Gorilla kind of analog for this universe. But like I think he starts like telling them things like about spooky stuff going on. Oh my gosh, I love monkeys so much. I don't think anything happens to the monkey. Fingers crossed nothing happens to the monkey. But I will 100% be reading this because I want to read it right this second, and the fact that I'm actually following my TBR a little bit from September to like finish off my last like shorty September picks, and not just picking this up right now, is a huge testament to me. I think everyone, if you're still here, you need to say great job Olivia down in the comments. You need to tell your friends to like, comment, and subscribe, because I have the heart of a gladiator, the will of a lion, the strength of Smithy the monkey, and we stand me, honestly. So that was 15 books. 15 books that I got from Goodwill, the library, bookshop.org, and my Nightworms package. If you've read any of these, let me know what you thought down in the comments. If you would like to read any of these with me in October, especially the ones that I said I was gonna like read super soon, let me know if you want to buddy read any of these, because I'm like actually extremely excited about all of them. Thank you for joining me. This is like a little bit of like my October TBR too. So I think I will record a TBR vid for the Kelsey's Halloween readathon. But you're gonna see a lot of these books again. I'm so excited. I'm honestly like, Halloween's like called Gay Christmas for good reason. I feel like Santa came, but like I got these books for myself. Anyway, please let me know if you want to read any of these books with me. I'm so excited. And let me know what you're going to be reading this October. Bye-bye!